welcome the very talented Mr. Michael Mcintyre.
Return of the man. Return of the man. Return of the man. You know that I'll be back. Return of the man.
That's nice. That's nice. How lovely to have you here, Michael Mcintyre.
It's nice to come out here because, I don't know, that green room's a bit stressful.
Is it a bit stressful, Willie?
Morrissey keeps hounding me for an autograph.
Is it? Yeah. Here we go. Now, it's Valentine's Day tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right.
I know you have a very lovely and gorgeous wife.
Yeah, you were surprised by that.
I was. I saw him.
You were surprised?
You know what? I know it's wrong of me, but he was in the makeup when we came in. There was a young, very attractive blonde woman talking to him, and I said as a joke, "Oh, this must be Mrs. Mcintyre," thinking she's way out of his league. But it was. I didn't know where to go next. I went, "Really? How did you get her?"
Well, you know, people say that, you know, laughter is the way to a woman's heart. It isn't. It took a lot of persuading and a lot of stalking, and finally...
She fell in love with you.
Yes, and here we are, you know, 10 years later, which means that we've had 10 Valentine's Days, and I have to say, obviously, I love her more than I did, but not than I did. I love her as much today.
Now you love her. Earlier on, it was just sex, earlier on, but now you actually love her.
But I don't know if you find this, but it is difficult to write in the card every year with you when you're for 10 years. You know, at the beginning of the relationship, you're filled with love and romance. It flows from the pen. Tomorrow, I'm just going to put, "I still love you. See last year's card for full details."
Let me ask you about life in the road, because you're touring at the moment, I believe. Is that right?
I'm on a break.
You're on a break. Because last time I saw you, you seem to be on tour most of the time.
Yeah, I worked for like 6 months every night, and now I'm writing again. You know,
So you'll be touring again. When are you touring again? When does the tour start?
It's going to be September. We're going to do a big tour in big arenas.
So this should be your biggest venues.
Yeah, I'm doing Wembley Arena, and I can't wait.
You're doing the arena.
Yeah, I'm doing Wembley Arena.
And what's
as opposed to what?
Well, there's the Wembley Stadium as well.
Oh, the stadium. Well, that's 80,000 people.
What's the biggest...
No one's ever done that.
Yeah.
I'm doing really well, and you have to make it sound like I'm still not doing well enough. They're like, "Oh, you're only doing the arena. You're not doing the whole of Wembley?"
You're in the same room as Morrissey there. He could pack Wembley Stadium several times over, you see.
Has Morrissey been laughing at any of my jokes?
No. No. But that's a good sign.
I know.
That means he's enjoying it.
I would hate to be the man that breaks Morrissey.
OK. Do you have a break when you're on the road, or is it pretty solid? And when you're out there, what do you miss from home? What are the creature comforts?
Well, I miss the woman that you saw in the green room.
Very attractive woman.
Very attractive woman.
Henceforth to be known as your wife. Submitted.
Yeah,
I give that as evidence number 8.
So basically, yeah, the thing was that, you know, when you're doing a tour, do as many dates as you can, because the DVD was coming out. So, you know, pack all the live dates in before, you know, you don't want to be doing a live show when the DVD's out as well.
You want to finish that so people have to make a choice.
Yeah, so I packed as many in. I did loads and loads of venues. We had a great time, but I would obviously just say to my family, as soon as this is over, we will go on a lovely holiday and relax. Right. And we did that. But you don't really relax. We have 2 children, so there's no relaxing.
How old are your children?
I have 2 boys. They're 3 and 1.
Wow, well, that's a handful then, I imagine.
Every day we wake up and we try to keep them alive until the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's it. At the end of the day,
good parenting.
I lie down with my wife, and because we split up. We'll take a child each. If she's watching one, I'll watch the other, and sometimes that'll change. And then I'll be looking, is yours alive? So mine's alive. And then at the end of the day, they're alive. Let's go to sleep. And then you wake up in the night because they're still sleeping. You have to go in. Are you alive? And then you go. So that's it. Lots of keeping them alive.
Have either of you ever lost one thinking the other one had it during the daytime?
No, thank God that hasn't happened. Yeah. Thank God that hasn't. We lost a child once, actually, in the Natural History Museum. It's a horrible moment. You just look round, and instead of my child, there was a dinosaur, and it crawled off. But we found him. But we had a really nice. Well, it is stressful, but it's nice to be stressed in paradise rather than at home. That's the good thing about going on a holiday. And there were other excitement. Oh, I lost the car. That wasn't very good in the car park. Because, you know, parking in the airport, you have to remember the zone and the row. Yeah. So it was C3, and I thought, I'm not going to need to write this down because it's C3PO. I'm never going to forget this. Yeah. It's Star Wars. 10 days later, I'm like, my wife's like, do you know where the car is? R2. So And then I think, no, it's D2. Is it D2? X-wing. Is there an X-wing? So we lost the car, but we did go. 10 days went away, which is it's the right amount, I think. I don't
Why,
know
you think any longer would be too long? You'd start getting on each
because there are
other's
a lot of
nerves?
people say, we went away for 2 weeks, 10 days would have been enough. This seems to be, after 10 days, you just want to get back to your shit life. This tends to be the philosophy of holidaying.
So I can't imagine you're the kind of guy, though, who does really... I know you've got young children, but you're not the kind of person... I mean, just look at you. You're not the kind of person who takes a lot... You clearly don't work out. I bet you don't... No, he won't mind me saying that, because he doesn't.
I'll have you know.
Do you?
I'll have you know that I breastfeed, which helps. It helps wean them off because it's a boob, but nothing comes from it. So I'm like the middleman.
I don't mean you look large or anything, but I'm just saying you don't look like someone who is particularly vain. Maybe that's a nicer way of putting it.
Well, it's the marriage thing. I don't want to keep going back to this, but once you hear the words "I love you forever," my first thought was cake. I'm going to eat
Cake for breakfast.
Are you sure you love me? I do love you. Good. I'll be at the fridge. And then you no longer get plates. You just open and start grazing. And then you say things like, "Do you think I'm getting fat, darling?" And she goes, "No, you're all cuddly. Cuddly? You have no idea how cuddly I'm going to be in the future." So I've been getting cuddly, but now I've had enough of this, and I'm going to get into good physical shape.
What do you do for your diet regime, though? Is it just calorie counting, or what do you do?
I get some exercise.
No, I don't think you do, really, do you?
What are you talking about? I get exercise on stage. I run around. In fact, I ran around so much in my last tour that I fell over and I dislocated my shoulder.
No, really, an actual on-stage injury?
Right at the end of the show, and everyone laughed more than I've ever got a laugh before. Everyone thought it was the funniest thing they've ever seen, and I was lying there, I couldn't move, I was shouting for help, ambulance, and they were going, "This guy suddenly, this is what we want, fast." It was terrible.
Have you incorporated it into your act on a regular basis now?
Well, I'm trying to get it back, because my arm is still not right. I'm in physiotherapy.
Oh, really?
I have a physio, and he's giving me these exercises to do, and he says I should do them whenever I remember, I should do them. And one of them is just this. So I have to do 5 of these and then 5 of those. So people keep sort of coming towards me, and they didn't really know.
Going away.
Yeah. I actually got a woman to park the other day.
Well, okay, let me ask you about, you mentioned the kids, and my family's a big part of my life, of course, inevitably, and we've managed to keep all of mine with us together. They're all safe and sound and lovely. They loved the snow the last few weeks went out. I didn't enjoy it as much as when they were little. Your boys, I guess that must be premium age for enjoying that sort of weather.
Listen, I don't think it's my family, it's every family, everyone here, everyone at home. The
you can get the day off work.
Morning,
It's great.
the most exciting, opening the curtains, Narnia. It's the most exciting thing. And not only that, but little perks like walking in the middle of the road. I love that.
Yes.
It's like, suddenly it's like, no cars are going to attempt this terrain. I'm going for it. And what I love also is the way that normally you have news and weather and travel, but not on snow day. On snow day, news is weather, is travel. It's the same. They go, the news is it's snowing. Now the travel, well, it's snowing. And the weather, well, it's snowing. Now for the news in your area. It's snowing here too. And if you don't believe me, here are members of the public sending in pictures of snow on my car. Here's snow in the garden.
It's like...
Snow!
It's like none of us have ever seen it before.
Yeah. It's so exciting. And people don't want to go to work, okay? They say on the news, don't leave the house unless it's absolutely necessary. And 99% of people go, well, obviously work isn't absolutely necessary. It's only the bosses who think, yes, I must go to work because they depend on it. And then they say, oh, why does Britain come to a standstill? Where's all the grit? We're hiding grit, let's be honest. People are hiding grit. It's like in The Great Escape, they're in the garden getting rid of the grit. They can't grit the roads, we can't go to work! And then we've had to call up, they had to ask Spain, I think, they've had to say to Spain, could you lend us some stuff for the roads?
Yeah.
I mean, it's Gordon Brown phoning up, going, pass the salt. That's basically what's happening.
Well, I'm glad that we had some days off, though, because I love it home there. And presumably your boys, it must have been for the youngest one, was this the first time he'd seen snow?
Yeah, we built a snowman, and... but it is depressing when it melts, though, when it melts, and then only the snowmen are left. So then you've got just grass and snowmen bodies.
Yeah. They look worse, don't
And
they?
it's really sad.
But it's a good thing for the kids to learn that early on, that everything must pass, that everything changes, that everything goes, that nothing's forever.
I prefer snowmen building than snowball throwing. Why are we... It's very aggressive making weaponry out of weather. I don't understand. It's like, puddle dunking!
Let me ask you about your upbringing, your past, if I may, okay? Because it's a little bit more interesting than most. You were involved in a roundabout way. You knew as a boy, you knew Kenny Everett fairly well, didn't you?
Yeah, my dad wrote the Kenny Everett Show.
Wow.
Yeah, with Barry Cryer.
When I was a kid, I just adored that show. I just thought it was the
I think a
funniest
lot
thing
of
on
people
TV. I loved him on the radio, and you know, it must have been strange to have him around the house to know him when you saw him on TV as well, or was it just
They only had well, there's just 3 channels then, so you know, 20 million people were watching this show.
It was the biggest thing, yeah.
And it was like Top of the Pops, EastEnders, and then Daddy's Show. That was it for me. It was not for you. And then it was I didn't really know it. I mean, people always say, "What was it like?" As if literally I was like born into a sketch. Kenny was sitting there dressed as a nun with a beard, going, "Who is it?" That's not what
There's a
happened.
picture of you. That's you there. Look at little Michael. Before he let himself go, and over there, that's Kenny. That's your mum, I
The
believe.
only time Kenny's looked at tits in his entire life.
But he must have
is
been
it
quite a
great-
close friend of the family.
Yeah, I think what also needs to be noted for that photo is that I'm always in a suit, even as a child.
But the kids at school, they must have been excited knowing you knew Kenny Everett. Did you get any of the reflected
He
glory?
would pick me up with my mum. He'd pick me up from school. It was the most exciting thing because everyone in the school, the big boys, would just go mental for Kenny Everett. Then all the next day they would always go, "It's Kenny Everett, your dad. It's Kenny Everett, your dad. It's Kenny Everett, your dad." And normally these big boys never spoke to me. So I had an option. You know, do I say no, he's not my dad, and then no longer get talked to by cool big boys? So I said he was my dad for a long time. And then he came out as a homosexual, which was odd at school. He was like, "Oh man, your dad's gay, your dad's gay." No, my dad isn't gay. It's not really my dad. But I recently got back in touch with Barry Cryer, who wrote it with my dad, and it's really nice now that I'm in comedy.
And what a lovely man as well. He really is. He's
A
one of
lovely
the
man,
greats.
completely obsessed with comedy, like on a level I've never experienced. So much so that I phoned him up, and he picked the phone up in a joke before even saying who is it. He picked up the phone and he went, 3 Cubans on a boat. And he just goes into the joke, and then he finishes the joke and goes, "Who is it?" It's like, you can't say who is it after the joke.
Now, let me talk a bit more about your career, because the first time I was aware of you, the first time I saw you live, and I'd been hearing about people saying, "You've got to see this comedian, he's brilliant, he's going to be huge," was at the Royal Variety Show back in, I think, about 2006, was it?
Yeah, 2006, yeah.
And I saw you perform, and I thought, wow, this guy is really good. Now, that must have been an exciting experience. Was is it nerve-wracking the first time you get in front of it and knowing that it's, A, going to be a huge TV event, but also you got members of the royal family sitting there?
It wasn't nerve-wracking that much because, you know, when you get your break like that, you've been doing it for years.
Long enough,
And you've done it for just ghastly audiences that hate you in clubs and heckling you. And
So early on,
not
you had all
listening.
that. You had hecklers, you had
Yeah, so I
uninterested-
knew that I had 8 minutes ready that I'd done. I knew inside out,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I was just dying to get out and do them on a big stage. Because, you know, if you write a joke, you want as many people to hear it as possible, and the Royal Variety is brilliant for that.
You always look incredibly confident on stage, though. I mean, I know I'm seeing you now at the stage where you've obviously perfected it, but you look very, very confident. You look very happy out there. Would I be right in thinking that?
Yeah, I am. It's where I'm happiest there almost, you know, outside of my family life. I feel most comfortable. I feel like I know who I am on stage.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, but I think a lot of performances like that, I get the feeling when I see Morrissey on stage, for example, he always looks like he was born to be there. You know, and it's like, you know, and I get the feeling, would I be right, Morrissey? You seem so confident on stage. No.
Yes, I was born to do that.
Yeah, it's big helpful. But, you know, some people just seem like they're right to see them there.
Yeah.
And then if I was to meet you socially, for example, if we were to bump into each other, not in this hour, I probably wouldn't want to talk to you. Because
No, I
it
know
would-
that.
you
I've always
and
said
you
that.
wouldn't want to talk to No, but you wouldn't want to talk to me
Yeah.
either. Because
Yeah.
it's like, what are we
No, a lot of people have said that to me, like you said it to me when I first came on the show. You looked and you just said, "You don't look like a comedian."
Yeah.
I have come out throughout my career and people have gone, "This guy is going to be shit. He is going to be shit. Who is this guy? Is he Chinese? What is it with this guy?" And then, you know, hopefully I start to be funny. It is like that. But I've overcome that. I feel funny inside. I like being on stage because... And I get more excited by bigger audiences, why this arena thing has really excited me.
Yeah.
Because some people get freaked out by it, but the way I see it is just more people.
And you're
a
very
bigger
physical
lot.
on stage. As you said, you run around a lot, you feel the space. So I guess that already your act is tailored to work on a bigger scale, I guess.
Yeah, a lot of the clubs that you do, you're really restricted. You know, you're standing... Also, you're on a leash. I mean, the microphone is like a leash. So you just sort of stand there and deliver. And I've actually been trying out some jokes recently, and I am on a small stage. And when I'm not running around, the material isn't that funny. You really got to sell it.
Hey, now what are you doing TV-wise? When can we see you on television?
I got that from Kenny, by the way. You probably noticed that. TV-wise, yes, I'm doing a big show. It's on BBC One.
What are you doing?
It's going to be in the spring.
Yeah.
And it's on BBC One, and it's a comedy roadshow. It's like Live at the Apollo, which has been very successful stand-up show, big production, very
So you'll
exciting.
be going around the UK then?
I'm going to be going around the UK. I'm going to Newcastle and Dublin, and I'm going to Cardiff, and I'm going to Edinburgh
All over,
and Brighton, and we're going to have new acts on, and we're going to break them, and they're funny, and we're going to show the world
So
that.
you can bring out new comedians like you were once brought out.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
love your things.
And if they're too funny, we'll edit that out.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a big headline act. It's going to be, I think, Saturday night.
It's
so
going to be
I'm
great
really
fun. A
looking forward
Saturday
to it.
night show, that sounds like an
Yeah.
old-style show in a good way.
Yeah, without the variety, it's going to be stand-up, no variety.
How good to have you here. What a funny guest. Ladies and gentlemen, I think you'd agree he's a fabulous comedian, as he proved this evening. Mr. Michael Mcintyre, ladies and gentlemen.